1140. Joining me right now to talk some Kings. He covers the Kings and all things Northern California sports for Fox Sporty. It is Sean Cunningham. Sean, how are you this afternoon, my man?
I'm great, Rami. How you doing, man?
Good. How come you didn't get the assignment to go down to Mexico City and check out 49ers and Cardinals? What's up with that?
I'd like to say I have passport issues, but yeah, I really do. I have to renew my passport and my all that stuff. But no, I think we're all in the mood for them to come back and let them do their thing in Mexico. And I'll go as Santa Clara is far enough, man. It's a drive, bro. I don't need to go that far.
And being here covering the Kings is pretty fun too, man. I know you've been covering Sacramento and Northern California sports for a minute. I was talking to Carmichael Dave and Chris Verlad, my producer on the other side of the glass, lifelong Sacramentans. Is that correct? And this is as much fun as they can remember a Kings team being in a long, long time.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm in my 12th going on 13th year in television and covering the team, getting my first taste of covering the team since 2001 and lifelong Sacramento myself. And let's just put it this way, man, last time they made the playoffs, I was working at your station. So, I mean, this is a long time ago and, great relationships over there. It's fun to see not only the Kings relevant again and even if it is a small sample size. I was talking to someone the other day. It's like, Kings fans historically tend to get really too high and too low and can sometimes be their worst enemy. But it really shows you just how great they are because the excitement over something so organic as a Band-Aid on Malik Monk's face or a purple lightsaber in the air to get excited about something. And it's all organic, all these things that start within the team and spread to the fan base. And Domantas Sabonis really said it great the other night after one of the wins, where it's like, it feels like everyone's on the same thread, like everyone's like this big family, and it extends from the locker room into the seats of Golden One Center and then beyond to the fan base in the city. So it's a lot of fun right now. And it didn't take much, right? 6-game winning streak. Most teams will probably experience that in a season or two. And for the Kings, it's just been far too long.
And as a lifelong Sacramentan, the professional that you are in covering the sport and the fan in you, is there a little part of you that's waiting for the other shoe to drop or the bottom to fall out? Have you been conditioned to do that as a Kings fan?
Well, 100%. I mean, we like to point out that the last time I think that they had won 5 straight, I think it was, they went on a 9-game losing streak. So it's like, sometimes you have to see it. I'm much like, maybe it's because I'm too hardened and have done this too long and talked to too many players and coaches that don't get too high or too low. And it's, you're not only are you expecting it, but like at least they've been fun, right? Like, I mean, there's these things that you can kind of hang your hat on and you go, okay, well, look, everyone seems to think that this team has a lot of talent. And I think before the season started, I like to call it quality depth as opposed to just depth of people who play the position. And you surround yourself with shooters and, you look at this team and it's like, man, this team can really score. And you already know you've got a hot rod at your point guard position. And if you can get the right coach that can just make him keep his foot on the gas, and take some pressure off him by last season adding a big like Domantas Sabonis, like you can really see this team being an offensive threat. And I was saying, man, this could be hopefully a top 10 offense and just be fun again. And then the defense, that's what you'll focus on, and that's going to take longer to come around, and you probably have to add talent around it to make those fixes. But even if you make a small jump from, what I like to call dead booty last to maybe even like 25, like maybe that's a step in the right direction, and that can equate to actually wins. But if anything, like they're outscoring teams, and sometimes you can find teams that are more equipped or better equipped to play the outscoring game than you. But maybe this is truly what they are. I mean, the pace is up. And offensive efficiency right now is like number 2 in the league, but I don't think I expect it to be that high. But certainly, I if you're top 10, I mean, this team will be very, very fun to watch, and hopefully take these fans on a much deserved ride.
Sean Cunningham, Fox 40, my guest here on Cattles and Rami, Sactown Sports 1140. Yeah, you talk about that offense, and I don't know if you caught the last segment, Sean, but just some crazy numbers when you look at this offense. They're scoring the most points per game since the 1984 Denver. Yes, I said 1984 Denver Nuggets. Is there anything, and not even the pessimist that's been pounded into you by following the Kings and some of their struggles over the years, but just from a basketball standpoint, a more analytical standpoint, is there anything you watch them do offensively and you go, I don't know if they can keep that up?
Well, I mean, certainly, Kevin Huerter's not going to probably shoot the ball around 50% from three, even 82%, I think it was, when Sabonis feeds him the ball. So that's pretty staggering. But I will say, De'Aaron Fox, who's been this mid-range game, and he's always been really, really great from, his like go-to move has been free throw extended and being able to just pop right there. And right now it just feels like that's an automatic shot. So, I think the most encouraging thing that I think they can keep up, and I even questioned myself just seeing so much dreck over the past few years when it comes to Kings basketball. Mike Brown comes over from Golden State, and they play about as beautiful of a brand of basketball as you'll see, and you're seeing it offensive. The ball is just moving, man. Like they call it, 0.5, like just you got to make your decisions so quickly, and they don't want the ball to stagnate and anybody play hero ball. And when you've got a playmaker like Sabonis and a capable playmaker like Fox and shooting that's spread all around, it's like, I think they will be able to at least hang their hat on their offense, and especially the way the unselfishness of this team. And you're seeing it, man. It's somebody every single night. Like, you don't even need a guy to score 30, even though Fox had like 33 last night, and here he is, Western Conference Player of the Week. It really is somebody new every single night, and I think that's what is so much fun, not only to watch this team, but you can sense it in the locker room. These guys love the fact that it can be a Terrence Davis one night, a Malik Monk the next, or Sabonis and Fox as the two stars.
I want to ask you about the two guys you talked about the most right there before I let you go, talking with Sean Cunningham of Fox 40, De'Aaron Fox and Mike Brown. Let me go Fox first, because Sean, I just got here in June, but watching De'Aaron Fox, and I said this at the start of the show, and just his body language, his confidence, and especially in the clutch, you just look at him and it screams, I'm going to cook you. To whoever is covering him, I'm going to cook you, and there's not a thing that you can do about it. Has this always been there with De'Aaron Fox, and now the numbers just match the swagger, or is there a different level of confidence that this dude is exuding here in this season?
No, it is different. And I think, a lot of people want to give Mike Brown credit, and deservedly so. I mean, he's going to be really hard on all these guys. He treats Fox the same as he would treat the last guy on the roster. But I think where it actually begins, Rami, is with Domantas Sabonis, because Sabonis comes in. Let's rewind, actually, because you've got De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton starting last year, and we know what that looked like. It was a figuring out process. Some people equated it a little bit to like when Kevin Martin and Tyreek Evans were teammates, and it just didn't quite work. Well, what didn't work was De'Aaron Fox was playing off ball, and him standing in the corner is just a waste. He doesn't know how to do it. So Tyrese Halliburton was the distributor and the main focal point, at least in terms of initiating the offense, and that was a foreign concept to De'Aaron Fox. Plus, he came in bulky. He had added some bulk to him, some muscles, and everyone told him he had to get stronger. He's not doing that anymore. He wants to rely back on some of the quickness and speed, and not be so bulky up top. It affected the way he started, and there was a lot of pressure on him, and he's coming into that contract that he had just signed. Now you add Domantas Sabonis at the trade deadline, and he brings in a guy who's a two-time All-Star and just able to take pressure off of De'Aaron. And I tell people all the time, it's crazy to think, but even talking to De'Aaron the day after the trade, the first game after the trade, the first game they had Sabonis, even before that, he was like a new man. Like, there was just this weight that had been lifted off of him. And I kind of believed it. Now, we didn't get to see the two of them really finish out the season the way we'd like to, due to injury and, where they were in the standings. Things got a little out of hand. But now you come into the season and he's around people that are going to push him, and a familiar face like Luke Locks, who's on this coaching staff that was, somebody that worked with his now wife, Rasay Caldwell. So she'd interned with the Warriors, and they have this familiarity, and they take him on to the honeymoon with them, and he works all off season with them. And then you get Mike Brown who's pushing them to keep him put the pedal down, and it's just all organic. And you see it, and like, we've seen stretches of De'Aaron play very, very well and play at this all-star level, but it lasts a couple weeks. Now we're 15 games in. It's the best start of the season he's ever had. He's already encouraged by the most talent that he's ever had around him. I think it's a lot of ingredients that are just kind of formulating into this great Thanksgiving feast that he's enjoying. Hopefully he can extend to 25 games, maybe 50 games, and dare I say a whole season.
And just lastly, you talked a lot about Mike Brown there, and you're right. I mean, you can't give him all the credit for the progress De'Aaron Fox has made, but D Fox has taken a step under Mike Brown, and this whole team just seems to have bought in. As you pointed out before, we've seen hot starts, but have you ever seen a Kings team, or at least in recent memory, a Kings team that it seems they buy into the coach's message and what he's preaching as quickly as they have with Mike Brown?
Yeah, I mean, you saw probably some glimpses of it, obviously, with Michael Malone. That's the one that I think most people cringe at, because the Malone era in Sacramento should not have ended the way that it did. But you also saw it with Dave Yeager. I mean, Dave Yeager, known as his defensive coach and the slow pace when he came over from Memphis to Sacramento, and then got this team to be the quickest team in the league with De'Aaron Fox. They were fun. That's where the scores came from with Amon Shumpert. They had an identity. They were terrible defensively, so there is a little bit of similarity there. But they were fun to watch, and I think people kind of got behind them, and some bad things happened along the way, and then Dave Yeager was dismissed shortly after. So, and then once they went to Luke Walton, it was a different focus of the team. The pace absolutely stagnated. So, you kind of saw glimpses of it. This is a encouraging sign because it's happening in the first year with Mike Brown. So I think that's a little bit different of a reason to be encouraged by what they're seeing. And he's such and Rami, I don't know about you, but I'm just constantly wowed by just Mike Brown's attention to detail, some of the things he stresses over. And, some of the things I've known about him as a coach covering the league for as long as I have is like, just every coach is OCD. I've had people tell me it's like, no, he's OCD on steroids. And I asked him about it when I met with him in Vegas during Summer League. And it's just like, no, he wears that as a badge of honor. It's a little bit calmed down than what it was in his previous stops in LA and Cleveland before that. But he wears that as a badge of honor. And I think this team can really benefit from a lot of that teaching. And, guys are the basketball IQ compared to even that Dave Yeager team and even the Michael Malone team before that. I think this might be the smartest team that this team's had in Sacramento for such a long, in really a decade. I mean, this team has an IQ about them. They know how to make the right play. The spacing is fantastic. You just hope that they can make some strides defensively, and they might have something here.
That's Sean Cunningham, reporter for Fox 40, covering the Kings and everything else for them over there. Follow him on Twitter at Sean Cunningham, and my guest for the last few minutes. Really appreciate the time and the insight, Sean. Thanks a lot, man.
Anytime, Rami. Thank you, man.
And he joins me on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.